have some big thoughts on AI and the legal practice. Technology in general has been on a big uptick.
There's just delays everywhere.
It was even beat into our heads in law school that all you need is your yellow legal pad and a can-do attitude. My name is Christian Cooper, and I serve as Corporate Counsel.
Alison Slotsve, and I manage Gemini's litigation support team.
I know that there are going to be hundreds of millions of little children watching this video who want to grow up to be us. They want to be an attorney, a paralegal. They want to work in the legal field. Kids, stay in school. It's going to be a long ride. Right. It's going to be really expensive if you don't get a full ride everywhere. And you might go gray. And I'm speaking from experience here. But what would a day in the life of someone who's a corporate paralegal like yourself look like? Give me an average day. Sum it up and what it could possibly look like.
It depends. It depends on what I'm working on. So for me personally, lots and lots of administrative work. So lots of paperwork, lots of reading, lots of research.
And let me dive into the reading part, because this isn't like you're reading romance novels. You're not reading Harry Potter. You're not reading Lord of the Rings, which are unbelievable series and sponsor. But it's hard reading. It may be boring too.
It can be.
And there's a lot of terms you got to look up.
Yes.
There's a lot of Latin that you have to know.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of times I have a book open with commonly used terms or my Black's Law Dictionary as I'm reading, because there's still, even after being in the industry for 10 plus years, there's still stuff that comes up where I don't really know what it means, or a new word comes up that I have to look up.
Sure.
But yeah, it's intense reading. You have to pay attention. You have to do a lot of back reading because you get halfway through the code and then it says, per this code. So then you go this way. You go down the rabbit hole.
There's a lot of reading code where it says, if any of the following occurs. But it's the end of a sentence that already set up a bunch of elements. Right. Elements 1, 2, 3 are met if. And then you got to go down to it's subsection G 65. Okay, so now you're in this. Now you got to go read this half of a sentence, digest it, go back up to the top, and then try to read it as one coherent sentence to make sure you understand
exactly.
it. Yeah. And oh, by the way, then you need to go find a case that says this is what the court thinks of this rule. This is how the court says this rule is to be applied. Because maybe the rule says, hey, you can't wear flip-flops indoors. Right? That's the code. Labor code says you can't wear flip-flops indoors. Then you find the Brown versus Brown case that says you can wear flip-flops inside if you're coming from a water park. Oh, that's good information. You need to know that. Oh, by the way, my client just came from a water park, or my client just came from the lake, the ocean. Can I use that case law, because it's a water park and it's water-esque, to apply it to my case and say that under this rule with this case law, because my client's coming from a water-based activity, they can wear flip-flops inside.
Right.
That gets difficult.
It is. It's very difficult.
Yeah. Okay, so you're reading. You read a lot?
Reading, a lot of writing, a lot of drafting, legal documents.
Okay. Fun stuff. If someone wants to know what a legal document looks like, go to your local library, find a forms book, and just copy and paste that over. What's that? A day in my life? Oh my gosh. I'll tell you. I wake up, I drink a coffee, I get to the office, I have a coffee, I have a million emails, I read some emails, I have a coffee. After I've had a coffee, I will start writing a bunch of legal documents. Corporate counsel does a number of things. It's basically an umbrella term. So when someone says, I'm a corporate counsel, I'm a general counsel, I work for a corporation, unless they say I am the head of IP or I am the employment lawyer for X corporation. Corporate counsel generally, general counsel, does all of these. We're talking about how there's infinity practice areas, right? So it's employment law, it's contracts, it's negotiating, it's immigration, it's fill in the blank. Right. So I do the fill in the blank law a lot of the day. So there might be an employment dispute. There might be a trip and fall, right? Someone gets hurt on the job and you have to step in and make sure that your client, the corporation, is protected. You do a lot of writing, a lot of contracts, vendor agreements, service level agreements, non-disclosure agreements, blank agreements. You fill them in. After I've written for maybe 4 set hours, I get a coffee. Maybe it's lunchtime, and then I'm able to go to the coffee shop and get a coffee. After that, I come back. There's legal research, meetings, board meetings, team meetings. What I'm starting to do right now, which I'm really excited about, I'm going to roll out next coming months or so, is, and I heard this at a conference, that some risk attorneys, your compliance officers, whoever manages risk in your industry, your corporation, will take world news, and maybe it doesn't directly apply to you, but say, if it did, this is how it would have affected you. So I'm actually really excited to start writing something like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. A new immigration policy gets rolled out. How does that affect Gemini? Maybe not this second.
It affects Gemini a lot.
It can, and here's how. And so something new I'm working on writing. Actually do a fair amount of mentoring to law students. So they'll reach out from my alumni and I'll talk to a first year and I say, it's okay. Have a cup of coffee and you'll be okay. And then they usually are okay. And then when we get to the end of the day, I do some phone calls to finish up my work and I go home, and then that's really about it. But usually those days are like 7 to 6 with a coffee break or two in between. Honestly, that's what legal is, just writing. It's so much writing and research and talking to clients. And in my case, my clients is singular and it's just the company. But you have stakeholders, board members, shareholders, officers, employees, and they all matter. They all have a voice, and you got to take all of them into consideration when making some type of judgment call, writing something.
Right. Yeah, a lot of my days lately have become more of if we aren't getting paid, so the carrier hasn't fulfilled their obligation with paying us timely, or they're just not at all. My job is to make sure that we can litigate these. Sure. So a lot of it is researching if they're correct or not on why they won't pay us, and figuring out the strategy on how we're going to get a settlement on this, how we're going to make the most, get the most return.
Well, you manage people too. Like I have outside counsels. I probably have a dozen outside counsels. So a dozen attorneys that I manage between either weekly phone calls, bi-weekly phone calls, or I have a very nuanced niche issue and I don't know it. And I know I don't know it. So I'm not going to tell my client that I know it. I'm going to go get help. So I manage those people. And that comes with, it's not just them, it's their associates and their assistants and their entire firms that you have to deal with as well. But I manage them. But you manage people.
Yes, I do. I have managed I have 36 people.
That's it?
Under me.
Just a few dozen?
Just a few.
That you're personally responsible for? Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
That's a lot of people. How do you weekly calls? Everyday calls?
Lots of calls. Luckily, I have great supervisors.
Cool.
So they're in there working their magic and helping disperse that. So.
Well, it helps when they have someone who's passionate about their job. I'm sure that just spills over to the supervisor to everyone else.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. On behalf of my client, I really hope that you're passionate about what you do. I wish clients knew about attorneys that we do not know everything. And it happens a lot where you get a client who will say, hey, did you read Jim Bob's so-and-so's opinion from the Cincinnati District Circuit Court dissenting on X opinion? No. Why would I have read that?
Right.
No, I don't know that. Inform me, enlighten me. And unfortunately, I don't know everything. So
I think maybe sometimes the clients don't understand how many different areas of law there are and how many different specialties. And just because you're helping them with their, can't think of an area of law, what type of case, their personal injury or divorce, that doesn't mean you're going to know anything about personal injury law, and especially in other states.
So I think attorneys have a great skill set of learning how to learn. We know we have the ability and skill set to go figure out information. That doesn't mean I retain 100% of everything I read. And you're right, there's an infinity areas of law. It's basically fill in the blank with a noun, law, chair law, ladder law, dog bite, motorcycle, car accident law. And there is, and they're all really nuanced. There are an exorbitant amount of ladder cases, a lot.
Yes.
And people make a living off of practicing just that. Yeah, that's a really good point. I wish clients knew that there is infinity areas of law. And as new technologies emerge, you get more nuanced practices, like maybe you run an AI practice. I only litigate copyright infringement in AI cases. A gajillion dollar firm right now, maybe for the next couple of years until it's, I only do robot law.
Yeah, because all of this stuff, all that's so new, and the law takes forever sometimes to catch up.
And by the way, you can have a practice that is taking candy from a baby defense.
You could.
That's a very nuanced, highly specialized, minor law practice.
Yeah.
Juvenile defense. Well, I have colleagues that do that in Miami.
If it's harmful to the child, then...
Exactly.
If the child's diabetic and their blood sugar gets too low and you took candy from them...
Are you lacking intent and willfully
that is child
wanton action taken? I totally agree. I think the hardest part of being an attorney is getting emotionally involved in a lot of your cases. I can say that when I was at a firm that did probate litigation... and I think probate, people just associate probate with, so someone's passed away and I have to go litigate their estate. Well, probate court also deals with when someone's alive and maybe you need to get a conservatorship or a guardianship, and those can get highly contested. And I have a case that I was involved in really early in my career that was extremely difficult to litigate. And it took a huge emotional toll on me. I was working 75 hours a week during this case specifically. And it's still to this day, if we get around a fireplace and we're making s'mores, or I get a couple glasses of scotch in me and someone wants to ask me about my case history, I will get teary-eyed emotional. And it's still I can feel it coming on right now. It's still really hard for me to talk about. I think getting emotionally involved it's not that it's a bad thing. I think you do have to separate it a little bit, but getting emotionally involved might mean like I really care about my client and I really want to take care of them. But that's probably the hardest thing attorneys have to deal with. What about in your experience when you're working with them?
I think in my experience, maybe not professionally, but personally. So I volunteer. I just went through training to become a court-appointed special advocate for children going through foster care.
Whoa.
And I actually get sworn in on Thursday.
Wow.
But thank you. But a lot of the training focused around how to compartmentalize and how to separate what's legally happening with a child that is a victim of severe abuse and neglect, and how to know that the goal of everybody on that child's team is to get them reunited with their parents. So separating that, what's legally right versus what I would want for that child, two different things. And I think that that's really difficult. And that is the same if you're in that area of law. Anything with kids, of course, is going to be difficult emotionally.
Oh, yeah. That was the case I was involved in. Wasn't a minor so much as a individual with disabilities. They weren't able to manage their self-care or finances, and it's just really hard. You don't want to lose them to the system.
Right.
And that takes a toll when that does happen.
Definitely. I think that's why attorneys have one of the highest rates of alcoholism and in professions, and why a lot of the MCLE focus on that. Like self-care.
I think every conference I've ever been to has a topic.
Has something on addiction, something on that, just because it takes an emotional toll on you.
We're high in addiction. We're high in one and the same: alcoholism, heart attacks, extremely high divorce rate.
Yep.
And sometimes your work bleeds over into your personal life, and it gets extremely difficult to manage.
Right.
But, hopefully you have a good support system or a good partner.
But not being able to talk about it.
Oof.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Because you're bound by privilege. So it's not like you can even go and vent to your spouse or tell them to help have your support system share that burden. They can't.
That's why you need a good state bar.
Yes.
To give you some type of outlet to talk to someone. Hard to find and hard to get up the courage to even want to go talk about it. Yeah. There's a lot we like to swallow and push it down,
suppress
as deep as we can. Yeah. But that's how you make the big bucks.